This, on the first day of the year, we are doing our annual tradition of mining insights from our community members, are introducing you to new community members, showing appreciation for the community that is built here on today's fifth annual GC Fan Appreciation Show. Welcome, everybody, to your weekly edition of the Not Your Average Investor Show. I'm your host, Pablo Gonzalez. With me, as always, the man that I affectionately like to call GC because he's got the genius concepts, knows how to generate cash flows, is a great co-host, and because his name is Gregg Cohen. Say hello, Greg.
Hello, everybody. Fantastic to be with you today.
Fantastic to be with many of our community today. We got some big breaking news today, GC. What's the big breaking news?
You know, guys, it's a special day for JWB, a special day for all of us, for me. Today, to the day, is the 20-year anniversary of JWB. Started this party 20 years ago today. So I have actually really been emotional about this today. I didn't, I knew this day was coming, of course, and we've talked about it and whatnot within the team and whatnot for a little while. And then, I woke up this morning and I have just been so reflective, and I went for a run this morning. I was just thinking about all the people that, made this possible. I told Pablo and Joanna before the show, I probably was going to cry a little bit, but it's been an incredible journey. But yes, 20 years to the day since we started this thing. So very, very special thank you to all of you, everybody in this community, all of our JWB clients. You guys have helped turn something that was just a crazy dream 20 years ago into something that is something to be proud of and something that's really making an impact in people's lives. And that's the most important thing for us. So thank you, guys.
Incredible, man. 20 years running a business, 20 years in a partnership with other people, right? Like just like, a 20-year marriage anniversary. We celebrated so big. You hear about fewer 20-year business anniversaries in partnerships like this. Very, very cool, buddy. Really, really, really incredible to see it. And we've got another breaking news as well. Today is officially the day that we started advertising the Not Your Average Investor Summit to JWB's 40,000 person mailing list. So this is officially last call of your inherent advantage to buy a ticket before we sell out for it's only 100 folks. It's coming up in just about like 6 weeks. Statistics show that people buy their tickets and buy their travel for conferences, things that they're going to go to right around the 6-week mark. So if you want to come to the summit and you want to make sure that there's a ticket for you, it's for JWB clients only. You got to go to jwbrealestatecapital.com/summit. You no longer have a code that you got to put in there that we were giving out to the Not Your Average Investor Show community. GC is showing us the website here. This is the summit, February 19th to 21st. Come in on the 18th in Jacksonville. The website has places to stay, all that recommendations, everything that you need to know. But get in either the evening of the 18th or if you want to really risk it, the morning of the 19th. We start right around like 2 o'clock, GC?
Yeah, somewhere around there, 2-3 o'clock.
Yeah, excellent. So it's all on there. This is kind of last call. We historically announce it to the community. About like half the tickets get sold to just like our inner circle here because you all want to come see each other. Obviously, we want to be there too. And then once we promote it to the email list, it kind of like fills up in under a week. So this is officially last call. JWBrealestatecapital.com/summit. Anything you want to add there, GC?
No, couldn't be more excited than what we are doing this year. Pablo and I just started to think about how we're going to map out this agenda and take full advantage of these 3 days. And we are super pumped. There's going to be some really fun things that we're going to do this year that we just weren't able to do in past years. Now we have a little bit more time and we have some incredible space to enjoy together as well, as we will be hosting this in our brand new downtown headquarters. So I couldn't be more excited and really more excited to see all of you. So come on down, get your ticket. It's going to sell out pretty soon. So I hope you guys take advantage of the time right now, buy that ticket, and then we'll see you soon.
Let's go. Let's go. I see a bunch of people here that already got tickets, excited for the summit. I know that in the little chat community that we have on WhatsApp, people are already buying hotel rooms and making their plans. So excited to see everybody. And this show, this community appreciation show, is kind of like a perfect teaser of what it feels like. I think everybody that contributed here, except for Nadeem, is coming. Nadeem is not going to be able to make it this year. But for the fan appreciation show, there's a little tradition that, man, I remember at the end of 2020 GC saying we should do a fan appreciation show, and the audacity of like a podcast that has actual folks that are, truly a community that show up. And we've done it a couple different ways throughout the year, but I just never take this for granted, man. Like, what do you think about the idea that we get folks that come on here and like take part of this thing?
I was so surprised that we had any people that were showing up for this show, 5, 6 years ago when we started this thing, that if you had told me that at some point along the way, we would not only just be doing the show and have people show up, but we would have actual fans and that there would be people to appreciate and a show to appreciate, I would have told you were crazy. So I feel like we are so blessed to have this community. And every year, this is one of my favorite shows because every year we get to hear from some of the people who take the most advantage of this community, that are the biggest and most impactful people within the community. And we get to hear it straight from them as far as what's meaningful to them. It is also an emotional show for me because of that. I think about, well, I started to watch some of the videos already, and I think you guys are going to love it. So probably without further ado, we probably should get right to it.
Yeah. So we did a little bit different this time. It's kind of hard to wrangle so many people and like get them all on and all that stuff. So I sent out a link to the top 10 attendees and a couple of other folks. We got some responses. We got it up until like yesterday. We got responses on this video. So your boy woke up at 5 a.m. today, downloaded the videos, edited them all in a certain way, and then my team, made them a little bit fancier and more watchable. But this is all me putting together everybody's kind of like stories in a specific order to like talk about this, right? So little teaser, when we're done sharing these insights from the community, we're going to reveal the top 10 attendees of the Not Your Average Investor show this year. And there's some upsets in there, GC.
Some new names on that list.
As you know, some new names. There's some upsets on there. All right. So first, we're going to start with a little introduction and a fun fact of the people that submitted in here, starting right here.
Buenos tardes, amigos. This is Bill Shields, a.k.a. El Gran Amigo, coming to you live from my office in Duval, home of your 12-4 Jacksonville Jaguars. And more importantly, JWB Real Estate Investment Group, home of the Not Your Average Investor show. I guess one little fun fact about me that you might not know is that I like to ride waves. I am a surfboard rider. One day, Pablo and I are going to surf together.
Hey, Not Your Average Investor show family. Mystery Man Denny Davies here, wishing everybody a happy new year. Hope 2026 is a great one for everybody, and looking forward to Summit in February. Fun fact about me. Well, my wife and I have been married for 24 years. We are definitely a cat family. My wife loves cats. We have 2 of them right now. So if you see Erica during the summit this year, please feel free to engage her on your love of cats if you share a similar love of cats. That is a good way to immediately work your way into her heart with conversation.
Probably the most unique thing I've done is I used to be a circus performer and now walk on a high wire in the circus. Not something that most people are acquainted with, but I know several in the community would know that because they know me. We've talked about a lot of different things, but that's probably the most interesting fact about me, although I have done a lot of interesting things in my life and lived in a lot of different places.
Hello, it's Billy Green, the Mountain Man. One fun fact, the Not Your Average Investor community might not know about me. I cannot think of a single thing. I've tried to, just brainstorm something interesting, but I can't for the life of me think of anything at all that would be any kind of fun fact at all. I mean, going to Amazon and maybe doing a little research and getting a book called Screen Gold, we might be able to unearth something. I have no idea. There are no fun facts about me at all. Screen Gold available now, $9.99, Amazon. Oh, another fun fact. Right here, acknowledgments in my book. Not Your Average Investor show. How about that? How about that for a fun fact?
Hello, everyone. When my wife was looking to marry somebody, she was looking for somebody who looked like Antonio Banderas, the dark, handsome, and I'm not that. I am not Antonio Banderas, but she did say that I can make her laugh no matter how bad her day is. And that has been the success behind us being married for 33 years. So that's a little fun fact.
Hello, JWB team and JWB community. This is Nadine.
Hi, this is Ed Lowry. No fun facts here, Pops.
Hey everyone, it's Jen Filzen, the fairy godmother of the Not Your Average Investor Community. And I am married to Renee Ariola, the Filipino Clark Kent of the Not Your Average Investor Community. One fun fact about me is that I have my very own wand. Yes, I am the fairy godmother of this community. I have a wand. I like to bring it with me to the various events and ding it and then circle it around people's heads and say, may all of your real estate wishes come true. And my husband, Renee Ariola, he is a very handsome guy who looks a lot like Superman. So he is the Filipino Clark Kent.
Fun fact about me, I suppose this is fun. As a younger person, I had aspirations to play Major League Baseball as a career, especially if it could be for the Baltimore Orioles. During my college freshman year, I played for our school team, and every set of games was a doubleheader to get in as many games as we could. When we got up to spring break that year, when everybody went home and the dormitories were locked up, we still had games to play the very next day before heading out of town. So with nowhere else to go, what I did before leaving my dorm room is to prop open the window just a little bit so that I could maybe get myself inside for the night. When I got there after practice that early evening, I tossed my baseball spikes up to the window, trying to get them in, and didn't quite make it. They were hanging outside the window just as I turned to see a campus police car coming down the road. I hid in the corner, hoping not to get caught. And fortunately for me, the person did drive by. And I quickly scaled the walls, got into my dorm with the intent of doing some homework that night. But I was so tired, I just fell asleep. And then within an hour or two, I heard people walking outside my dorm room, looking presumably for an intruder that they had picked up in some way, which is probably me, and just kept quiet in the dark until they went by, fell asleep, and was able to slip out the next morning and go to our games. So that was my criminal history at my college dormitory.
If you come often enough, you'll get a really cool nickname. So my nickname is the Real Estate Maven. I suppose a fun fact about me that most real estate investors don't know is that I was an insurance agent and a financial planner for 10 years before I realized, hey, I think real estate might really be a good accelerator for my retirement.
Hello. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Reggie from the IE. Oui. One thing that I will share is I've lived my life basically serving others. What do I mean by that? You can tell 4 years Navy. After I got out of there, I joined California Highway Patrol as an officer, did 25 years. So I've basically been serving others my whole career. That's where I've been. I also help friends and family and stuff whenever I can, however I can. One thing I liked when I got out of high school was I wanted to do construction. I didn't go right into the Navy because the CBs was not open. So I guess one thing there that I like to do is I like to do woodworking and stuff like that. I was born in Maine, graduated upstate New York, moved to Miami, Florida, did 3 years construction with my uncle there, joined the Navy, came to San Diego. So I guess one fun fact is if I moved to Washington State, I will have lived in all four corners of the U.S. But I don't plan on going to Washington State. Actually, I might be heading east from California. That's where I'm at in the next few years. And not sure exactly where I'm going to land yet. But I'm easygoing, and I guess we'll learn as the years go and we get to know each other. You guys might be able to tell me one fun fact about me.
About that, that's the big reveal of Reggie. Most folks had not seen Reggie before.
I love seeing everybody on video, and then Reggie as well, because sometimes, I hadn't actually met Reggie before, and we know him as Le Monsieur from the Inland Empire. And so when he dropped a wee, I think I about lost it the first time.
How about that Mike Foster story, huh?
How about that? How about that? Best part of that story too is, I've gotten to know Mike and his family over the years. What an incredible family. And, they do it all right in that family. And so to hear Mike talk about his criminal background, and then he was doing all of this just so he could go in and then study his homework, I thought that was priceless and classic Mike Foster right there.
Yeah, pretty good. So that was a teaser for everybody, just everybody that you're going to see on these videos. Greg, it's all right. You got time to come meet my cats and have a cat story for the mystery man and Erica. Don't worry about it. We want to give you plenty of time for that one. And I don't know about you, but I think Lee looks more like Antonio Banderas than he thinks.
Yeah, I agree.
Right
I think she nailed it.
He's like a funny Antonio Banderas. All right. So that was just a quick intro of everybody. As you know, all of us invest here for different whys, right? When you come on with JWB, the first thing that they ask you is your why, because it's the most important part of it. So we're going to start with these investors' whys that they turned in. You ready, GC?
Let's do it.
All right.
By the way, great editing, bud.
Oh, just FYI, that was the most edited clip out of all of them. The rest of these a little bit less edited.
The why behind our real estate investing. Well, I will tell you my original why. Wanted to put some dollars that we had towards something better than the stock market. And back in 2012, I met 4 very hungry, ambitious young men who were inspirational from the moment that I met them in their vision for what Jacksonville real estate investing was, both in that present moment, but then what they saw being on the horizon 10, 20, 30 years down the road. And they literally promised me, Denny, we are here to stay. This is our life's mission. This is our life's focus, is right here in Jacksonville. How could you not get behind that? Ultimately, our investments through JWB is they're gonna make any dream that we want to have come true in our retirement. But the initial why that I had was the inspiration of the team there at JWB, and that confidence that Erica and I have in JWB has only grown more and more over the years.
My why behind real estate investing is to leave a legacy for my children and family, and also to make my retirement more enjoyable during our golden years. As we get older, we'd like to have fun and not be stressed about money.
My why behind real estate investing is it's for the chicks, man. It's the women. Okay. That's all it is. It's the women. Okay. All right. Aside from the women, I think it's fascinating. I am actually a professional real estate investor. I used to be, not a lot of people know this, but I used to be a TV producer, was in film. I used to be in movies, in TV, little extra parts, and then moved on to being a tech and a producer. I actually had a couple national TV shows you might have heard of, but it was always a lot of fun, but there really was never any money in it. Unless you're Jerry Bruckheimer or Spielberg or somebody who's getting a national film out there, building revenue that way, there's really not a lot of money in what I did. So it was fun. A little Billy Green in his little playful sandbox, having a good time. That was great, but not building anything. And real estate to me is fascinating, and you can really build something meaningful. And again, like I said before, I don't have kids, so it's not that kind of legacy, but I can definitely build something that I will be willing to somebody after I'm gone, or to an organization. So it'll be something substantial. And I just think it's fascinating and fun.
Our why behind real estate investing? Well, because we're self-employed, we don't have a pension. We don't have a safety net. And so we have to create our own safety net. So it's really important for us to have a solid safety net. We are aiming for owning 30 JWB rental properties. That's the goal. So far, we're at 7, but we'll keep plugging away until we hit our goal. And then we won't have to worry about rubbing 2 nickels together when we're retired and when we're elderly.
I probably have several whys for it. Number one, it's just a great way to secure income for the future and to build wealth through appreciation. A proven method, and it's probably one of the safest leveraging method out there, because you are leveraging against a real asset, and that is real estate. It's something also that I just love. I love the little intricacies, the figuring out the financing, like constructing a portfolio. I'm an accountant by trade, so I have a lot of spreadsheets on a lot of different things, and I enjoy working through the numbers and doing the what ifs and figuring out all the little ins and outs of it. Some people have hobbies like gardening or woodworking or things of that nature, and to me, those are just jobs too. Even though people say my hobby is kind of like a job, but real estate is really a hobby for me. But I enjoy the numbers aspect of it, being a numbers person. This is one more thing that I would have to say is getting to know this community has been a great bonus to that. Met many dear friends in this community, as I've reiterated in the past. And it's really just opened up my eyes to a whole lot of things going on in the world, and met some interesting people that have got interesting takes on a lot of different things that I love hearing about, being a very curious person myself.
The whole reason for me to get involved in investing in real estate was because I wanted to make my wife proud. If somebody were to say, what's your why? That is my go-to. That's my why. I want my wife to be proud of me and what I've accomplished. And now that we have 6 properties with JWB, it just screams success. And it also allows me to have an opportunity to pass on those assets to future generations. I'm in it for a long haul. We're using those assets for our retirement. It's a supplement for our retirement. And it makes my wife happy, not worrying about our dwindling principal, because we have a rent that's collected and coming in every month. And we live in Texas now, so they don't have a state tax. So all that is just bonus for us. But that is my why.
Reason behind why my wife and I have opted to invest in real estate, rental properties in particular, is mostly for our children. But that's because we're a bit older than perhaps other investors. So people who are young enough to have many decades left of their lives, they can look at investing in several rental properties with a long-term expectation that they'll be able to live off of those investments, the money that comes in each month above expenses. You may be able to live off of that well into your retirement. For people who are a little bit older, our focus, like ourselves, may be on doing something very similar for our children. So the why behind it is for the benefit of what our kids will gain at the end of our lives.
Obviously, it's the legacy. I'm building it late in my life. I hopefully will enjoy some of it as I start growing, but the way life is nowadays and how tough things are, and I'm sorry, I don't think things will ever get cheap like they used to be back in the days. Everything just keeps climbing, and it's getting harder and harder. And unfortunately, we don't have an education system in America that teaches us how to build wealth when we get out of school, which is something that our schools should do. And my why is I want to start trying to change that for my family, getting my children involved, teaching them about investing. So that's why I'm doing this for my children. And hopefully they'll build it up for my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and so on, to where we can pass it down and change the way our family lives in society and move from the middle class maybe to the lower part of the higher class, if we can get there.
So you taking some notes there, GC? What were we taking notes on?
You know, I was writing down everybody's whys, and I was trying to see what were some of the more popular whys. And, you know, what I was really thinking is, man, I'm just so thankful for the type of people we have in this community, you know, and you just see it when you watch them speak about their why. And, you know, so I wrote down legacy 1, 2, 3, 5, Billy Green, Lee Bishop, Mike Foster, Reggie, all talked about legacy. There was some discussion of better returns. So Jen, Denny, and Drew all talked about that. Some talked about just the fascinating nature of this being a hobby, like Drew was talking about.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and I can relate to all of that too. It's like if you told me that like I couldn't do real estate or I couldn't put some of this together as financial engineering, like that would be like a prison to me. Like I would do this no matter what, you know. And so it's cool to see that others feel the same way. And then I really related to Lee, you know, he wants to make his wife proud, you know, like I feel that too. I feel that about making my wife and my kids and my parents and making all of you proud and and whatnot. So it's I feel like I fit right in.
You, Lee, and the Mountain Man doing it for the ladies.
Ladies.
That was a good one, Billy Green. You had us chuckling. You had us all chuckling there. Man, yeah, I thought it was really interesting how much diversification came in there as well. Like that showed up pretty often. That was really interesting as well. I feel compared to share my why, right? Like my why is really a greater sense of control of my future, which I think is kind of like what Jen is talking about as an entrepreneur as well. I just see this asset class as the one that I have the most control over, and the profile of control for me gets better with age as opposed to worse with age, which is a really big piece of it that I didn't know at first, but it really is. It's really part of it. The cash flow that builds over time while you were saving for it, and then the control that you have later on in life when things happen. But yeah, I thought that was really cool, man. Really enjoyed that.
Really good. I like how you mentioned that last thing. It's a different way than you've said it, I think, in the past, but it really clicked for me. You talked about how important it is to be able to control things like your finances as you get older. And what you added there is typically what most people find themselves in a position is where they lose control over their finances because they lose their active income, and then they're just going by the way of the ups and downs in the market. So for you, that control at a period of time where people generally lose it or become less controlled really, really hit home for me, man. That's awesome.
Okay. All right, man. Well, we can't have a fan appreciation inside show without asking people what their favorite episode was, obviously. So let's get into favorite episode. I think you're going to like this one, man. There's some good surprises here too.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can make this. Nope, still can't do it better. All right, here we go.
Which episode or topic stood out to you the most this year and why? Be honest with you, there was so many good episodes, but I will tell you there that the ones where some of the investors that have been in here for a while that come on and they tell their stories, they're really informative on how people built their wealth and did it over time. And there was one specific that I saw where they started investing at the age of 65, and me being 61 and getting into this because I'm trying to build a wealth to leave my children down the road. I still plan on being around for 20 to 30 years maybe, but we'll see how far that goes. But I guess the story that really hit me was when he's 65 and he has almost 10 properties or has 10 properties with JWB. It gives you hope knowing there that even though you're 61, you can still start and be able to build a wealth for yourself in your older ages, and then something to leave as a legacy for your children.
The episode that I learned the most from was when Whitney from Reese Insurance was featured on the show to explain all the things that she personally has done to help the Florida insurance market reduce its rates. It's really quite important, and I feel honored that Whitney is my insurance agent with my JWB properties.
I recall the one episode where the topic was about tapping equity from existing properties, or maybe you're existing a single family home. You have one, you built up equity, how to use that to build up more wealth through acquisition of more rentals. So that's always exciting to me, and I can't wait to get to a place to do that. But it really drove home the idea that, use the team, use the JWB team and call them up and have these exploratory conversations about what you can do and can be innovative. And these guys are top pros.
Which topic stood out to us most this year? Predictions for what's going to happen. I mean, I'm always looking toward the future to see what I can plan for. I like to be prepared, and I can't predict the future, but I like to at least know what's happening. And so everything that Gregg and Pablo do on the show is future forward, and I really appreciate that.
The topic that stood out to me most this year was the income snowball by Tardis. That was kind of interesting. Just looking at different ways you can supercharge your investments, the C3X pay down model, things like that are really exciting to me as someone who's trying to keep moving forward and actually get into some real estate rental investments.
Topic that really stood out to me this year that I found fascinating, you have to go all the way back to episode 435 in February of 2025, when the question was, how much will one property really make you over the course of 10 years? And instead of the typical spreadsheets and hypothetical numbers that Gregg produces, which by the way are spot on, born out of 2 decades of experience, and you can pretty much rely on those numbers going forward for 10 to 20 years. It's always much more fascinating to me when you can get a real life, here's what the numbers produced over the last 10 years. And that's exactly what Gregg provided when he and his teammates sold a property out of their portfolio that they've been holding on to for 10 years, and kind of walk through that process, how much it made, the process itself. I thought that was utterly fascinating.
I love the quarterly recap shows. These shows really give me a lot of local insight, what's going on in the Jacksonville market. I study and read a lot about real estate. A lot of times it's broader in scope and generalization, and not as geographic specific to Jacksonville as JWB is. I love hearing about how things are progressing in this market, and also contributing to the conversation myself, with things that I have learned along the way. There's many people that add to this and get contextual shape to what is going on there, and this really helps me in my investing.
Which episode stood out the most? Yeah, I think it's meeting the phenomenal team. Every time you have very special JWB teammates on and they talk about what they do and their role, just enhances how we feel about JWB, and it enables us to put a face to the name. We're not just talking to somebody. Allie comes to mind, Hannah comes to mind. Everybody in that back office has been amazing. And when they come on and they share their stories, you can feel the love and the excitement from each of the teammates and how they feel about JWB. And it makes us feel that much more special to be a part of that group and to know those people and to know that it's a win-win-win for everybody. Win for the tenants, win for the owners, win for JWB. And I think that is the key to continuing a successful run, and knowing that Gregg is young and will continue to keep sacred his JWB, company, and making it run and prosper is just phenomenal.
These two stood out to me. One is the tax benefits that you gain from investing in rental properties. That includes not only all the various expenses that you have that you can write off on your taxes, but also depreciation for nothing more out of your pocket. That's huge. And the other being avoidance for them, your heirs, of paying capital gains from the time of the purchase of the property until the time of your demise. That also is an enormous tax benefit. And then the second topic that has been particularly helpful for me is the discussion of, should a person wait to purchase until interest rates come down or until property values come down, and whether there's a benefit trying to do that. And I built out my own spreadsheet calculator for this a couple of years ago, and discovered that there really is not a realistic crossover point for that, and that it is better to purchase. If you're going to purchase, better to purchase now rather than waiting for some number to realign with what you're hoping for. Especially because with higher interest rates, when they come down, then you can refinance and for a few $1,000s and get a better rate. And over the long term, you'll benefit much more significantly in doing that.
About that, Mike Foster building out his own calculator and putting you to the test.
Oh, I love that. I love that. When Mike Foster says something is the way it is, you better know that, number one, it is the way it is, and that there is a robust spreadsheet to make sure that those numbers fit into, that analysis there. It's he's pretty special. Mike and I have definitely swapped notes over the years as far as analysis of properties and returns. So not surprised there.
Yep. So you taking some more notes? GC, what were you taking notes on this time?
I was doing a little research for you and I as we are planning out the shows for this year, actually, is what my thoughts were. And so I kind of bucketed the shows that were the most enjoyed. So there was the client journeys, and Reggie and Denny talked about kind of a client journey. And I thought Denny's was really cool too. I had forgotten about that episode.
Yeah.
But, we have, literally hundreds and probably thousands of examples of that over the years. So if that is something that the community would like to see, like real life examples of assets that I have owned and then exited after a full market cycle. We can do that. I liked Reggie's client journey as well, where he talked about one of our clients that was around age 65 and how they started at that point. I think that is just like an underserved message. Somehow along the way, people have just said, oh, if I am over 50 or 60 or 70 or whatnot, I'm too late to take advantage of this great asset. And we know that that's not the case. So I loved him highlighting that story. Then we talked about kind of like strategy or maybe information or kind of expertise. And I think that was a major theme here. And I know you and I have a lot of shows that we're excited about sharing this year. And I know that Summit is going to be talking about some of the strategies we think where our clients are going to be able to win the most in 2026. So I think you guys are going to be excited about Summit. But Billy Green talked about cash out refinances. Jen talked about predictions and knowing where the market is going before it happens so that we can make educated decisions to do that, to take advantage of that. Bill Shield talked about the C3X and the income snowball method, which is about how do you prepare and make decisions to pay down your debt effectively and in essence, cut that down the number of years to get you to that financial goal. Drew talked about the quarterly recaps, which I love. I hope you guys love them. We put most of our time and effort into making sure that each quarter we're giving you exactly where the market is today and then what to expect in the next quarter. And then Mike talking about the tax savings, which I love, and the wait or buy decision was pretty cool. And then lastly, Lee talked about something that I think is just as critical as you and I getting up here and pontificating, is just creating a platform and a showcase for the other 130 wonderful teammates here at JWB. So I thought it was really great that he got to recognize Hannah and Allie and some of the other teammates that have taken the stage here this past year. And we look forward to doing more of that.
Agreed, man. I was listening to that, watching, little insider baseball here for the community, right? Like Greg and I have these content pillars that we think about, and it's just kind of like lanes of topics that we like to hit on, not topics, but kind of like themes that we like to hit on. And I love that they hit on every single lane, right? Like every lane is valuable is what I learned. It's kind of like this tapestry that we weave together on the show that gives a little bit of value to everybody in different servings. So really, really cool to listen to that. All right. So now we're going away from just episode and we're going into the biggest lesson that they've learned. This is kind of like the theme of the show, right? What the community learns while they come here. So here we go.
Biggest lesson I think that I've learned during the past year, and really even more than just the past year, is the reinforcement focus of hang in there, because this is a long-term 10 to 20 or more year cycle investment that is not going to turn any kind of profit in the short term. You've got to be focused on the long term. So this does counter short term, maybe very frustrating expenses that you face, but hang in there. It also gives time to see the development of, for example, Jacksonville downtown area and the metropolitan area as people increasingly move into those parts of town, and to see the benefits of this investment over a long period of time rather than just trying to make a short-term hit.
I got to tell you, the number one thing that we learned about in 2025 was about TARDIS. TARDIS allows us to do an income snowball that will allow us to pay off our mortgages faster. So that's super exciting. And thank you, JWB, for being a partner with TARDIS and for introducing us to them.
The biggest lesson that I've learned this year from the show is just not to give up and don't quit. I hear stories of people that are having great success or people that are hitting roadblocks and having issues like myself. And just the encouragement of the show just reminds me to keep on trucking and never quit. Just keep on going, baby.
The biggest lesson I have learned this year has to be from episode 470, just how much of an impact a high-speed grocer can have on an entire community and what that portends for the future. I thought that was an absolutely fascinating show, and I'd really never put two and two together how a grocery store can really anchor a community for decades into the future. So appreciate that episode. Thanks, Greg and Pablo.
The biggest lesson I've learned this year is patience. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a way to stay the course. And in the long run, you'll be rewarded through a terrific investment program that will enable retirement or even more legacy for your kids. I don't have kids. I have cats. So my cats will be very, very happy once I'm gone. But that's because these guys have given me discipline, and I know how to hang on tight. And not every year is going to be an increase of 4.6% in equity. There's going to be some rough spots, but I've learned that Jacksonville this year is booming, and through 2028 should be in a good place. So patience, man.
As a relatively new investor, the biggest lessons I've taken from the Not Your Average Investor, the number of people involved in real estate. It's been a little bit surprising. The number of folks who are focusing on Jacksonville has been very surprising. Second thing is it's not always about the cash flow. Getting into this, I thought I was going to be 100% concentrating on cash flow. That's not necessarily the case. I've got a good mixture going forward with all of the properties we purchased. And the biggest thing, I guess, is the team makes all the difference. Having an organization you can work with, talk to on a regular basis goes a long way. I would be very uncomfortable investing with a management company or a sales company that I didn't actually have a personal relationship with.
My biggest lesson from the show was the actual 5 areas of profitability for a rental house. I was familiar with a couple of them, but I really hadn't thought about the additional sources of profitability from leverage. So that was a fun takeaway.
The biggest lesson I learned this year was that Jacksonville is a fantastic place to invest, and JWB have gone through the process of re-imaging Jacksonville to be one of the super cities for investing. And I think they've been telling us all along how the process has been going and what the status is. And we're excited to be coming down there in February and seeing the actual process of turn into fruition. Those guys come up with some magic every week. There's always something that we want to learn. There's always something we do learn. And the very last episode was on the 50-year mortgage. And for those people that don't know what a phenomenal aspect that is to have in your pocket, in your tool belt, and as far as investing goes, it's something you need to watch the last video and see how it can help you. But there's something that I learned every single week, and it's just great.
The biggest lesson I've learned from the show this year, it's really all about local real estate trends and what's going on with the Jacksonville market and JWB. I love keeping abreast of the market happenings that are going on and the incentives that are out there for my portfolio. Always looking for new opportunities and evaluating new opportunities. And I hear about a lot of great opportunities on the show that I have taken advantage of, and I will continue to look into in the future.
One, we learned that we buy and hold. Reason we buy and hold is because that's where you make the majority of your money. It's in the equity. And we learned to pay up to 10 years. Besides that, I noticed in the chat during some other shows that people kept talking about, hey, my place has been empty for 3 months or things like that. And, when's it going to get filled? So that was another part that I learned was really important, is to make sure you got at least 6 months. Put money away until 6 months there before you plan on spending any money that you make on it. I think would be a good lesson that I learned.
5 years being a member and investor with JWB, I have learned a few things. First, that I can trust JWB. JWB cares for their investors and they look out for them. Every week, the co-founder, Gregg Cohen, spends 1 hour of his time bringing in guests and educating the team, the investors. Where can you find a company like that who cares about the investors? In my 5 years, I have learned a lot, and I thank Gregg Cohen and his team. That's all I have to say. I trust JWB, and hopefully in this coming year, I might buy or will buy another property.
All right, JC, what'd the notes say? What'd you take notes on this time?
I mean, my last thought is when the Shaw man speaks, we all listen. When the Shaw man speaks, we all listen. So thank you very much, Nadine, for saying such amazing words there. Nothing better than earning the trust of the quality and the caliber of people we have in this community, just like Nadeem, to earn your trust is a special gift. I was just thinking about, like, I think if I can kind of tap us on the show here, tap us on the back a little, pat us on the back a little bit. Like, what I was thinking there is we have a group, a community who really understands the good, the bad, the way to win in rental property investing. And that's very different than what other people think or read or promote. Our community is different. We think about this differently. And so I love that we were thinking of from kind of like both sides of the brain. Here, I heard Mike Foster talk about this theme of hanging in there. That was doubled down by Bill Shields talking about don't give up. Billy Green was talking about patience. Ed LinkedIn Lowry was talking about how this isn't just about cash flow. What he's saying here is it's not get rich quick, right? It's about a slow, patient, get rich slowly type of investment. Leslie talked about the 5 profit centers. Reggie talked about buy and hold. So, I think we are really doing a good job of helping people understand the good, the bad, everything that goes along with being a successful rental property investor. So that means a lot to me, because I've seen it done very poorly elsewhere. So I loved that. And then I think the other side of the brain here was the opportunistic side of the brain. And we heard that with Lee talking about how JWB and Jacksonville has this kind of like this re-imaging, he called it, right? What is going on downtown is a truly unique, once in a generation type opportunity is the way that we see it. And we're inserting ourselves, we're positioning ourselves to be able to take advantage of that with our single family rental property investments. Denny talked about how we love the impact, the grocer effect, we called it, the downtown grocer effect, where we highlighted when there is a downtown that is on a tipping point and you have a premium downtown grocer that comes in, things change, and they change very rapidly. And I thought that was a really fun episode to put together. And so I love that we're thinking, I love number one, that we are investing for the right reasons and we understand what we are doing. And then I love us also thinking about how do we maximize this investments once we have that foundation set.
Great summary, man. I just heard a lot of long-term thinking in there, right? Like, I thought that was really, really cool. We talk a lot about how really the foundation of our belief here, and I think the way that JWB thinks and operates is a lot of long-term mindset and operating with a big perspective. And, that's kind of what I heard here. It was almost like each of the episodes was like the short game, and then this was the long game, right? The big concepts. And as a content creator, it's very easy to get drawn into like, hey, let's just talk about what's happening today and let's talk about whatever, right? And like, let's not repeat ourselves. But to me, the fact that it's the concepts that we most repeat, the things that we most talk about most often are the most impactful. And it's really good reminder, to keep that in mind, that everybody's getting so much value.
100%, man.
Yeah, man. So we got one more video. The main question, right? Like, all different levels of investors here. Why does everybody actually watch the show? But before that, let's do it. Let's do the reveal, GC.
Let's do it.
Let's give people what they can. The top 10 attendees for 2025, official. This came in from Joanna this morning. Up to date statistics. At number 10, we have a tie. We've got the MVP and the Shaw man, Nadeem Shah. Lee Bishop and Nadeem Shah, number 10. Number 9, they don't call them the regulars for nothing. We got Gary and Rosalind Riley from Murrieta, California, coming in at number 9. At number 8, we have the Maven. The reason why she's the Maven is because she shows up for the information. Leslie Wilson, from the mountains of Denver. Number 7, we have a new name, Juliana Artojo, charging up the chats. Juliana is new name to the top 10. Really, really cool. Hope she comes to the summit. Hope to get to know Juliana a little bit more. We honestly I don't know much about Juliana, so would love to see you participate in the chat. Number 6 is a tie between a guy that was number 1 last year, so he lost a little bit of shine, the great amigo Bill Shields, and Chris Brewer, a new name in the top 10. So Chris, really cool. Establishing yourself, avid member of the community. Great to have you. Number 5, it's the Ringmaster, Andrew Barnhill, coming in at number 5. The now out of the secrets out of the box, high wire act Drew Barnhill. Number 4, no surprise here, the KOB, King of the Beach, Christopher Lee. Always read his name in the roll call. So not surprised here at all, Christopher Lee, to have you at number 4. Number 3, another name that we don't mention very, very often, so he doesn't check into the roll call very often, but we're going to have to come up with a nickname for him, Ronald Thwing. So Ronald, I know that I call out your name every once in a while, but it's clear that you are at top 3, showing up often and not checking in. So we got to give you a name, get you to encourage you to check in more often. Number 2, we call him the leadoff hitter, who's batting second today as well. John Henning, no surprise here. And number 1, taking the title, a guy that is known for his great questions, Mr. Mike Foster, number 1 attendee of the year, Mike Foster.
That is really, really incredible. Congratulations to all of you in the top 10. This is awesome. And you think about this top 10 list, if you think about in totality here, these are the folks that are taking the most advantage of this information and doing something and taking action. I mean, I think there's probably 10 or 20 properties that were purchased this year just from that top 10 list. So congratulations to all of you. I'm glad this is creating a positive impact in your life. And I'm really proud of you for doing something about it too.
All right, GC, you ready to see why people actually tune into this thing? Why people take an hour of their day on a Tuesday to come here and hang out with a bunch of friends inside of a Zoom chat? You ready for this, bud?
Let's do it, baby.
You might get a little emotional. I'm going to warn you.
Why do I watch the Not Your Average Investor show? There are so many reasons, but a few I guess there is a great community that I love hearing and being a part of, and getting to know people over the years since 2020 when this thing started. We have a couple of great hosts, Gregg and Pablo. There's always great guests coming on the show. There's always new information, and I'm always learning something. I'm still a relatively new investor, so that's great to listen to the show and hear perspective and just kind of take it all in while I'm working. So it's a win-win for me.
The reason I watch the Not Your Average Investor show almost every week, gaining insights into the rental property investments that Gregg and Pablo discuss every week. Another is gaining an overview of the Jacksonville versus national markets, comparing the two. The third is the breadth of the issues that are covered on the show from week to week. For example, there could be insurance trends, there could be tax savings, maybe the economy in general, where things are going. Viewer-generated issues that are of importance, but the two of them are willing to consider as far as discussion points. Another reason is the willingness for Gregg to address tougher questions that maybe somebody else with less integrity would avoid, certainly on a live program. Another reason is the comparisons of different investment types that are discussed from time to time. For example, the property rental market versus, say, stock market. Another reason is the hearing about the Jacksonville rental market versus other cities, especially ones that Gregg likes to beat down on, such as Cleveland. And finally, just a reinforcement of hearing ideas and concerns and considerations that are important to not forget them, and also to build up confidence that this is truly a valuable long-term investment.
I watch the Not Your Average Investor show every week just for the community. You never know who's going to show up week after week. Every show, I learn something new that I haven't ever really thought about. And so if you come often enough, you'll get a really cool nickname. So my nickname is the Real Estate Maven.
The reason I watch the Not Your Average Investor show is it is hosted by two of the smartest guys who are in the real estate industry, and they're excellent podcasters. The community is terrific, and also the special guests. I always appreciate whether the guest is in the community or brought from outside the community. They're always knowledgeable, and they're innovative leaders in the industry.
It goes well beyond the amazing JWB staff. It goes well beyond the amazing topics that Pablo and Gregg come up with every week that are informative, that make each one of us a better investor, that create moments of levity in the middle of our days. It goes well beyond all of that. To me, it's about the community itself. You know, typically in this life, depending on what profession you're in, life is a competition. It's always a competition. Everybody's striving to do better and be better and make things better for themselves and others. But it's a community here in the Not Your Average Investor show and chat and get-togethers. This is a community that truly cares about each other, about wanting to see each other have success stories, about wanting to root each other on. I mean, you can look no further than on show days when somebody chimes in that they've hit a housing milestone in the chat, and immediately the regulars jump in and just congratulate them, put their arms around them virtually, and wish them all the best in their future goals and future endeavors. It's a community like none other. There's a lot of podcasts out there, but this is truly a community, and it shows each and every day.
I watched the Not Your Average Investor show to keep abreast of the latest information in real estate trends, what's happening with JWB. Certainly these things can affect my portfolio, but really the biggest reason is to visit with all my friends that I've made through investing with JWB and the investors that I have become so good friends with. It is truly a community. It's something we meet every week to see the community, and it really is something to connect and to feel a part of this space. This is something that's really been valuable to me, and I treasure the folks that I have met along this journey that are taking this journey with me.
I like to attend the show almost every week whenever I can, because I'm still learning a lot about the real estate environment. We started investing in 2024 with JWB. We're just about to buy our 5th property. But every time I come on the show or listen to one of the shows, I'm able to learn something about how things are being done. Living here in Jacksonville, it's helpful. I can actually see the changes that Gregg and Pablo talk about regularly. So it's exciting to see. I'm glad I could be part of it.
Why do you watch Not Your Average Investor show? In 2016, I retired. In 2017, I started getting involved in real estate, educating myself, learning how to do things. Joined a company called Fortune Builders, learning how to flip homes and stuff. Unfortunately, I didn't do any of that. I was also part of the Passive Income Club, which is why I started watching the show, because I saw that they had posted that they were going to be doing a seminar on a Tuesday about a year ago. While watching it, I've become very interested in it. I've learned a lot. I also feel I feel really comfortable with the way Gregg explains. He definitely has an understanding of what's going on in Jacksonville. And it makes you feel a little more comfortable in order to have confidence with working with JWB. Him and Pablo both do really well. I also realized in the chat that everybody there puts out their information of what they learned, and they'll even give you their phone number and ask you to call them, and they'll talk to you about it more, which shows me this community is a really good community to be part of, and that's kind of why I watch it. I became very impressed with JWB and their programs, and I became so comfortable with it that one of the shows we were watching, we brought on a lady there and we talked about 1031s. I actually knew about them at that time, but as of the end of last year, I sold the rental that I had up in Maine, did a 1031, and just recently purchased my first property with JWB, and that should be closing in about 1 to 2 weeks. And I look forward to, and I have purchased my ticket and look forward to meeting all of you that make it to the Summit 26. And you know what they say, don't be average.
We watch the Not Your Average Investor show to stay current and knowledgeable of what's going on in the real estate market. Anyway, JWB is where it's at, and I'm so glad to be part of the Not Your Average Investor community, and we'll see you guys at the summit in February.
I just wanted to say how grateful I am to be a part of this community and know that Jane and I love all of you. It's a wonderful thing being a part of such a special group of people who are like-minded in their investment. And we had taken the time to share our story multiple times, but I just wanted to say, without JWB team being who they are and being special, and, you know, Jane and I having as much love as we, you know, have for everybody there, it's, it chokes me up. But we care. The love and support you guys have shown us for the issues that we had, the health issues that we had in this past year, meant so much to me. You know, your prayers, your love, it's all good. We're so proud of everybody. We think it's a group of people that like to help each other, and we support that. And if they can get something out of out of the show every week, that's what we look for. And I'm always finding a nugget out of these shows. Greg and Pablo take the time to make sure that it's not a waste of our hour every week. And it's just a great thing to be a part. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional, but that's just how I feel. It's the love I have. So I can't wait to see the special people that are going to be there in February and meet everybody. And we'll continue as much as we can, as long as we can. And we'll see you on the show. God love you.
How about that one, man?
What do you say? What do you say about that? What do you say about that? That's it's really special. The MVP is a special guy. Him and Jane are very special. I remember meeting Lee at a conference. It was probably 8 or 10 years ago now. And from the very first moment I got to meet him, he gave me a big bear hug. And I knew immediately in that bear hug that this was going to be a friend for life. And it means so much more than just the dollars and cents of what we're able to accomplish together with Lee and Jane and their family. It's man, you just see it. It's real. It's genuine. So
I feel a deep sense of gratitude for this feeling, right? Like I feel a deep sense of gratitude for the opportunity to have done this. As you know, GC, for me, the last 10 years of my career have been a bet on community creation for business development. And to get to experience this every year, this fan appreciation show and the summit, right? And the weekly things that we do, and the value of creating a community and being put on a pedestal like this in front of people that are literally making millions of dollars to benefit their families and make a legacy and build something that they never thought they were, ever going to be capable of. It's I can't think of I just can't think of anything that I'm like. This is, I don't have kids, right? Like, yes, I'm building a real estate portfolio, but this community to me truly is my legacy. It's deeply tied to an insight that came to me at my brother's funeral about the value of community, and it's part of his legacy too. So, man, it just really fills my bucket to do this every year and to do this every week and to be on this journey with everybody and what it's meant to me. So I want to thank you, man, for taking a shot on this. And it was a wacky idea 6 years ago, sitting at, I keep thinking it's called Cluck You Chicken because that's what it was called.
Coop 303.
Coop 303, fried chicken in Gainesville. Coop 303 to do this and to present this to your business partners and to bet big on this idea and to see it come to fruition like this only happens with a really special group of people, which is JWB and JWB's clients and JWB's partners and everybody else, man. So I feel really honored to be a part of this, man. So thank you.
I don't quite know what to say with all of that. So much love for you, for the team, for the community. It's this is I never could have dreamed that we could be doing this and having so much fun and making such an impact. And so I'm very thankful. I really believe that everything happens for a reason. And I remember before sitting down with you at Coop 303, it was one of the most difficult parts of my marketing and sales journey. I was in a tough spot. And I reached out to somebody that you and I weren't really friends at that time. We were sort of acquaintances. And, that was the beginning of this greatness that we have. So I'm thankful for the journey. I'm thankful for everything that brought us here today. I'm thankful for the community. I'm thankful for you. This is awesome, man. This is just better than I ever thought it could be.
This is appreciation. Community Appreciation Day, right? It's not just about our portfolios appreciating, but appreciating each other as people and the impact that we have on each other. It's amazing. We're going to keep this thing going. 2026 is going to be an awesome year. Got Summit coming up. Next week, we're talking to Sarah Jennings, who just recently had property babies, right? She just did the old cash out refi and got new properties in her portfolio without extra capital down. We're going to tell that story. Excited to show her on the show for the first time. Excited to see everybody in a little bit over a month. And any piece of advice you want to leave everybody with, GC?
Don't be average.